Hi guys, welcome back to another quick card pull. This is being filmed on Wednesday, August 26th, 2026. So if you want to manifest, today's a great day to manifest. Remember, if you want to lock in, stop money running through your hands, part of the Lion's Gate portal, wash your hands with, you put like a tablespoon of honey in the water. You can use, you can either, I would fill it in a bowl, like separate from the sink or anything. Sprinkle a little cinnamon. You can say I attract, or I'm manifesting, or whatever words resonate with you, calling in what you want to call in. So if you want to do that, because it does lock up tonight, and then we're heading into the partial eclipse. So they're talking about choosing your battles, and I feel like watching your energy, especially with the chakra. So like orange is more your sacral chakra, the blue could be your throat chakra or your third eye or your crown. But I feel like because like following your heart, I am a typical Libra, and I definitely want people to get along, and I'm like, getting involved in things I not even shouldn't get involved. It's just like, hey, like, such and such, but I'm just keeping quiet now. I'm like, you know what, I'm picking my battles. I'm just watching my energy because, you know what I mean? It's a lot going on, and I need to conserve my energy. Not saying that I don't care about them or anything, but it's just like little minor minute things that, they matter, but on the grander scheme of things, it's just like, I'll just sit this one out. So this control card came out. It's the number 8, and I feel like it's because that's why a lot of us feel off right now, because I know for myself there's been a lot of change and transformation that's been happening for a while, like, people coming in, people leaving, you know what I mean, and trying to keep those connections and everything. I love the fact of eyes, like sight. So this is, you know what I mean, I feel like your clairaudience coming in, or your clairvoyance in the fact of channeled images. And I feel like it's just like, maybe there's things we feel out of control on, or we're not sure about the situation. And again, this is where I've been saying, pay attention to your For You pages, your songs, shows. Something's going to resonate. Something's going to really catch your ear. And it's like, write that down. Write down the date. Write down what it said. Also, like, if you're like myself, I was tired and they said something because I did this the night before, I didn't write it down, and I'm like, I can't remember. So I wrote it down, and I feel like it's the constant message, and I'm like, and make sure you're saying thank you for them. Thank you for the channel messages. Thank you for bringing in the wisdom. Thank you for bringing in the knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we forget to do those things. I love this observe. So this is a symbol that you see on the, not quite, but almost, on the Gilded Tarot. I believe it's the Magician over his, like, crown chakra. I love the fact that there's 4. So I feel like, could be like the 4 of Wands. I love the rainbow. So I feel like downloads, but also unconditional love. But I also feel like it's like you're getting information and support from all sorts of places. Your guardian angels, archangels, past loved ones, whomever you believe in, standing in your faith. She's standing in the white, so I feel like the purity of the situation. 1 + 2 is 3 in numerology, so you try to add the number as low as you can. And 333 is the number that I was following, was communication with, spirit, or, again, talking about that. But I definitely feel like it's observe what the situation that's going on around you. I feel like a lot of times, like your Government Sullivan teaches us in The Missing Element, her book, is taking our emotions out of situations and actually see the facts. Sometimes it's hard to see the facts, or the facts are the facts, you know what I mean? But it's also trusting and believing when they're saying, like, like if they're showing like Mrs. Doubtfire jumping over I don't know if it was a banister, but help is on the way, dear. Help is on the way. So it's, you know what I mean? Confirmation, again, clairaudience. That's what I was saying, like, pay attention to those. Pay attention to what's being called, like, brought forward to you. I love this, like, master, and they're showing your heart. Mastering your heart. Who you're giving your energy to, and who is allowed to have access to it. How much access they have to it. How much you love yourself. Not to, kind of pick or add or anything like that, or this is not clickbait. I was definitely thinking about this, where it's just like, it's just proof of someone that is, what the books talk about, the holy spiritual books, that, good people, good partners are better than gold and silver and everything, that build up their house, that they always put themselves last on the list of priorities. Like the fact that she left an institution to take care of herself And then the financial burden was brought up, and it's like, well, you're part of a yacht club and this and that, and you know what I mean? It's like, really? Like, can we, like, really see the grand scheme of things? You know what I mean? And she left, and I'm sure she felt guilty herself, and I'm sure others put guilt on her for not missing her daughter's birthday and doing that. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, really take that to heart, where it's just like, this is like in your face saying, like, hey, like, you are important too. Yes, I know you can go, but there's a point in time where you're going to have to be like, today, I'm just like, you know what? I need to take a time out. I need to rest so I can keep going, period. I still got, more of the day to do. So I'm going to sit there, take care of me, go take a little respite, and then get back to it. You know what I mean? So it's just like watching your communication, watching what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're doing the best you can, but mastering this, or even mastering, like, lessons from the past where we had to learn things, 2 times, 3 times over before we learned the lesson. We're learning it the first time. Change and transformation. You're changing as well. You may not see that on the outside, but there's definitely a lot that has gone on where you can definitely feel the maturity and see the maturity. Like me and my girlfriend were talking all weekend, and it's like, we were talking about that. Like, we would have to learn this before how many times when we were teenagers. Now that we're not teenagers and we've have all this experience, through life, it's just like, we're really taking these things to heart, or the wild heart in the Enchanted Forest cards, where it's like, you're not sure how to move forward. We got you. We're going to show you, we're going to guide you through this. So I believe this is the symbol that's over his forehead in the Gilded Tarot. But I love this. It's like, the yin and the yang of this, but you're manifesting, calling in your dreams, calling in your manifestations, watching your wording. So instead of pouring into negative situations, I'm watching what I'm saying. And I'm like, instead of, saying this, or instead of wasting or concentrating on this, that's where I was saying, telling everybody and sharing, because I feel like a lot of us are going through this, like going through cycles. And it's like, I attract, or we attract, a peaceful sanctuary. We attract a forever home. We attract peace. We attract abundance. We attract, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you're calling things in. Because it's just like, God, our RIP, Dolly Parton, where she's, a lot of her clips are coming up and it's really resonating with a lot of people. It's like, just because people say you can't doesn't mean you can't. You know what I mean? It's just like, you do what you believe in your heart that you can do. I've tried things, like them or hate them, but Kanye West says the same thing. They're like, aren't you afraid to fail? And he said no, because he always tries, and there's no failing in trying. And that's something you got to tell yourself. Even if this doesn't work out, at least I know I tried. I put my energy into the situation. If it's not working out right now, doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. It may come back around. Again, knocking around. You never know. Things may come full circle. That information or that skill may be useful later on in the future. You never know. She definitely gives me Coraline vibes. But highlighting again the crown chakra in her head, and I feel like the purity of your thoughts. So that exactly, and I love like the sonic energy radiating from like, her mind. And I feel like, again, this is where they're talking about manifesting. It's like, really put truth into it. Really put your heart in it. This is what you're calling in. This is what you believe in. This is where you want to grow in. This, you know what I mean? This is where you want to see like movement. You know what I mean? So when you call in things, and we all know we call in manifestations, and then there's a disruption because, like, what you called in is happening, but there's other things that go along with it. You know what I mean? But just be like, what? I'm getting what I asked for. You know what I mean? And when you get what you asked for, thank them. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you for spoiling me. I'm always open to you spoiling me. I love being spoiled by the universe, whomever you believe in. I feel like with the yellow, though, I feel like this is effort from the numerology cards, and it's like, you're going to have to make effort in this. So, she's definitely concentrating on here. You know what I mean? I love the green eyes. I feel like heart chakra. She's really, concentrating. I love the crystal around her neck. She's such a force. But again, that force, that sonic energy coming from her, like, I'm radiating, I'm manifesting, I'm bringing this in. Clarity of belief. Sometimes we are not getting clear answers. So Anastasia, the manifestation, our doll, the goddess of fortune, she also talks about this. If you're not getting clear answers, maybe we have to change the way we're asking our question. You know what I mean? Because maybe we're not asking clear enough for them to answer. I actually saw this. I came across her against the case that's all over everywhere worldwide right now. And, you know, she really piqued my interest, but she even said the same thing. It's just like, you know, it's like she asked a question and they were, you know what I mean? It's like, she's like, can you answer this question? They're like, yeah, is there an answer? That I can't remember how she worded it, but she had to re-ask it in a different way so that way they could give an answer. You know what I mean? So it's like really like, okay, I'm asking a little too much, or the wording is a little off. You know what I mean? So that's why they're saying clarity and belief. I feel like it's like ask and release. I feel like this is having faith. This is having trust. I'm asking. I believe it's going to come in. My son always says that. I know, Mom, Yahweh Yeshua is going to bless us. Yahweh Yeshua won't let that happen. He has such a strong belief system. I'm definitely in awe of it. But root chakra, you definitely get root chakra here. And I feel like touching heart is our heart chakra. You do see that with the butterfly. But I'm definitely getting like clear audience because of the blue. You know what I mean? Just trusting and release. They're showing like burning bay leaves when we write our manifestations down and we burn them. They're like kind of the same thing. Or we burn candles. But however, so Shabbat, we have a Shabbat candle. I write all our manifestations, blessings, everything on it, and I light it. You know what I mean? You know, bringing the light of God into the next week. And again, this is what resonates with us. Take what resonates with you. And then allowing that light of the candle to burn up all the chaos that has happened. You know what I mean? So I swear to you, it looks like this is a woman. There's a baby there. I kid you not. I love this. Very lovers card. We saw that with like a connection. They're saying move, but I feel like more movement. I feel like moving your body. I feel like exercising in that way because I get green chakra. Yellow is effort. But I feel like when they're saying move, I feel like putting more effort into connections. You actually may be moving. I feel like moving that way as well. But I feel like this is where they're saying, you know, putting effort into those connections that really do mean like that to you, that bond. We got helpless and hopeless. I got this in the reverse. I definitely feel like very Egyptian, like the wings. Rihanna has this tattoo under her, like on her breastplate, under her under breastplate, lower. I feel like this is like, you know, dawn of a new day. I feel like you're walking to like very Ace of Cups, where like this opportunity is being given to you. Just hold out your hands and receive. They show a mountain in the background. It's like you're about to ascend a mountain. I always talk about Storm from Below Deck Med, where he is, you know, he wasn't a bosun at the time and got promoted. And he was like, I'm excited to ascend this mountain. And that always stuck with me. That's always resonated with me. And I'm very thankful for that, because it's like, yeah, he doesn't know what the challenges may bring, but he's always, I don't ask for help like a lot of us do. We don't ask for help. We give help. Like, you know what I mean? I won't ask you. I'll just do it. And he was burning himself out. And Sandy, I love her. She was like, you have to learn how to delegate so you don't burn yourself out, so I can utilize you. So she could teach him more of the things that, you know, during the season of like becoming, you know, a captain, essentially, like, you know, chartering your own boats, being the captain of a boat. You know what I mean? So I haven't watched past then, because then everything became streaming and this, that. And it's like, ugh, who can keep up with all of it? But that's why I feel like it's like dawn of a new day, because it's in the reverse. I feel like sometimes we feel helpless and hopeless, and they're like, you don't need it. I feel like 2 more opportunities are coming in here. You know what I mean? Green with the heart chakra. I feel like the purity of the situation. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, sometimes things happen, and what can you do? You know what I mean? Like with us, it was just whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, so now we got to recalibrate and come up with a new solution. So 3rd chakra, this is, you know, our crown is our 6th. So this is our eyes. This is downloads. I feel like opening Pandora's box. I feel like a lot of people call in sight, and it's like, your sight's not always going to be what you think it's going to be. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, you open up yourself to sight, but you know what I mean? It's just the sight that you're calling in. There's sometimes things that you don't want to see and don't want to hear. You know what I mean? But that's part of it. It's just like, you know, it's like, I would say go with the flow, but it's just like, you know, sometimes you control what comes in. You know what I mean? When I do readings, though, I will tell them, I'm like, this came up twice. This is not from me. This is directly from spirit. This is what they're showing me. This is what they're saying. I would say it this way, but here it is. And you know what I mean? I'm like, You know, hopefully that does not happen. I don't wish that on anybody, and I share with them. Believe and succeed. I definitely feel like this is a beacon. This reminds me of Fable when that sphere is in the water. It starts growing. I feel like this is going with all the cards, like this observe card, but that's what I'm saying, like believe and exceed, mastering your heart, mastering your manifestations, and listening. I feel like this is what they're saying. You believe, you will succeed. I feel like I was like, one more card, and this like totally wrapped it all up. You know what I mean? It was just like, believe and succeed. You're heading in the right path. So, hold on. I feel like this is where, you know, they're saying that you're headed the right direction. Very Six of Swords. We're putting up a shield in front of us, and we're moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's an emotional situation. You know what I mean? Like, with us, there's been just like a lot of moving parts. You know what I mean? But thankfully, one thing I got to tell myself is like, through this situation, it's like, just because it looks like this now, you know, like my dad was so kind enough and he's like, give it till Sunday. It was way better before Sunday, but he was just like, give it till Sunday. Like, I'm so appreciative of those answers and that wisdom and that guidance. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where Spirit is just like, believe and succeed. Like, believe that this is going to change. Like, power of prayer, definitely power of prayer, but also being smart and doing the other things too. Like, you know what I mean? I'm all about natural ways of healing and stuff like that, but I'm just like, you know, if you need a medical doctor, if you need more guidance, you know what I mean? I would still seek professional help. I would not, you know what I mean? I'm not that type of person. It's just like, if it gets, you not wait until it gets to the point, but if you see that what you're trying to do, like in a natural way, is not healing, then you know, or it's serious, you need to, you know what I mean? Because you can use a combination of that. This is their advice. This is what they're doing. Okay, let's utilize that. Okay, let's utilize that. What other skills can we bring in? You know what I mean? You could still have like a good copacetic relationship there. You know what I mean? But it's just like, again, like, you know, I always say, like, you know, distance, Reiki healing or anything like that. It's like, you know, if this is very serious, definitely seek a doctor, definitely seek medical help. You know, on a very, very serious level, you know, call 911 or your medical emergency number that you have in your country code or wherever you are. So, you know what I mean? I feel like that's where, you know, believe and succeed. I feel like this is in your manifestations, and I also feel like this is something you're trying to grow into fruition. Like, we talk about cornucopia season and everything, and I feel like that's what they're talking about as well, is that you're trying to grow something here, and you're heading in the right direction, and you keep heading forward. You keep heading towards the light. You keep on guiding yourself. It's like, you know, like Dolly Parton was saying, you know, let people be the naysayers and just keep moving forward. That was that video where it's like, you want to share your excitement with something you're growing, and everyone's like, pfft. Right, you know what I mean? Because they don't dare put that energy that you do. People are out drinking and doing this and doing that. Nothing against any of that. Have your fun, do your thing. But while they're doing that, and a lot of people that, you know, end up being on the other side of things always say that. While you were out going to the club and doing this and that, I was at home doing this and that. And now that, you know, I've succeeded and done all the things, now I can enjoy the fruits of my labor. 1818. So, you know, just be mindful. If you want to grow and succeed in something, it's going to take that time and work, but as soon as you get to that point, you won't have to put as much time and work into it because it's going to work for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick card pull. May the universe bless you good.